Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 364. I am Brendan. UFC 297, Dricus du Plessis taking on Sean Strickland. Might have said that in reverse because Sean Strickland is a champion. Maybe he should be mentioned first. It doesn't matter. All right, let's talk about the fights. If you like this kind of thing, you like fight breakdowns, subscribe to the channel. That way you know the next video is coming out. It helps me out, and I'd really appreciate it. We're going to break down all the fights from the main card here. Prelims will be in the next video. Round by round, fight by fight. Timestamps are down below if you're looking for a specific fight. I'm rushing through this because we have two championship fights that went the distance that we got to talk about. So it's going to take a bit. All right, let's start talking about them. Okay, we will talk about the decision later. I have not looked at the scorecards yet. I have not looked at the official stats. This will be the first time looking through it, and we will go through it together. I do have my notes, obviously. So let's talk about the fight. So Strickland using the teep kick, trying to set up his jab. The Philly shell is shucking the wide punches of Dricus du Plessis off and checking the low kicks. Du Plessis shoots his first shot at 125, gets him down, but they get right back up. Most of Du Plessis' stuff was blocked, and Strickland landed a nice shot at the end of the round. Obviously, this was his round. 10-9. Looking at the striking numbers here, 34-18 in favor of Strickland. He outlanded him, outdamaged him. There's no real questions here about who won this round. Second round, Du Plessis throwing the overhand right and a low kick, trying to wing wide punches and move in, but Strickland's leaning back. Du Plessis landing a nice spinning back fist. Some of the low kicks are landing for Du Plessis, but he's swinging wide still and just missing with most of his stuff. Du Plessis finally lands a right hand and then a body kick. Du Plessis gets a takedown with 55 seconds left in the round. Strickland hits the switch at like 25 seconds, gets back up and starts throwing back at him. I don't think Strickland did enough in this round to win it. Looking at the striking numbers here, I gave it to Du Plessis. He outstruck him here 26-22. I thought that he did enough. He got that momentary takedown, but really it was his pressure. He outlanded him. I felt like he finally did outdamage him in this round. So I had it 19-19 going to the third. Third round, Du Plessis swings big, and when he misses, he looks silly, but the pressure is what gives him the opportunities to keep throwing those things. Strickland is only landing the jab so far in this third round. When Dricus opens up for sustained offense, Strickland finds a jab, and then the two, he did land some big shots back at him. The big swinging shots coming from Du Plessis, but the numbers were for Strickland. This round was very hard for me to call. I lean towards Strickland for the jabs landing nonstop, and Du Plessis not really landing flush. I don't feel like he landed a ton here. A lot of Du Plessis shots were going to the legs, and most of those were checked. Looking at these, 7 of 10, 6 of 9, 6 of 8, 3 of 5. Those didn't really land. You know what I mean? Like some of they would land like 2 or 3 of them in a round, but he definitely didn't land, 6 hard leg kicks in a round. Those were checked. And it counts towards offense, but it's the same thing as if you were to go up and defend, right? A shot, like a punch to the head. If it hits your shoulder, like, yes, it hit your body, and therefore it does damage, but that's not really the intended target, and it's also not causing the kind of damage it would if it hit your face. Checking a kick, same thing. It's not doing the intended damage. In fact, it hurts you to throw it. It stopped him from throwing a lot of them. I mean, he was really, he threw less and less every single round. 10, 9, 8, 5, 2. He threw less and less leg kicks as the fight went on. A lot because they weren't working. So if you look at that, I lean towards Strickland. And if you look at this round, 31-29 in favor of Strickland, he outlanded him. I felt like he outdamaged him. And then all other things being equal, there wasn't really domination in any point. This is also no takedown this round, no ground control. I gave this round to Strickland. So I had it, I had Strickland up 2-1. I had him up 29-28. Strickland was landing the jab in this fourth round, backing up, landing the right hand in retreat. Nice right hand and an elbow from Dricus as he entered, but then Strickland starts landing a right hand flush. Strickland ties up and gets taken down, gets right back up. Du Plessis landing a right hand, another takedown for Du Plessis at 140. They get free. He gets free at 55 seconds. Du Plessis doing enough this round to even it up, in my opinion. Now, striking numbers, not as close as the previous round, but they're 33-29 in favor of Strickland. But Du Plessis did land some decent shots of his own this round. The thing is, Du Plessis got outstruck in every single round. So there's always an argument that can be made that Strickland's punches did more damage and he could give it to him. I just don't feel like this was that round. I do feel that Du Plessis did win this fourth round, and going into the fifth round, it was 2-2. The way that they were talking, though, like acting like Duplessis was like far and away, it should have been 3-1. I didn't see it because there's nothing in these rounds that were so dominant that made it like having it even makes sense. Maybe you could see one. We'll go when we get to the scorecards. All right, last round here. Strickland needed to step it up, and that's exactly what he did. The stiff jab from Strickland is out there early. Strickland's landing the 1-2 really well this round. Strickland looking better this round, outlanding him, blocking most of the stuff coming back, and then Strickland finishes the fight strong. I have it for him, but obviously they could give it to Duplessis is what I wrote down. He outstruck him here 50-3 to 35, not even close in this round, as dominant as the first round. The first and the fifth round were the easiest ones to score. The middle three were kind of, they could have gone, I guess, either way. The way I saw it made sense to me. Okay, obviously the judges did not see it that way as a whole. There was a split decision. So let's look at what we had. So you had Derek Clearly and Eric Colon scoring the first and last round for Strickland and the middle 3 rounds for Duplessis. Okay. And then Saul D'Amato has my scorecard. I really think that like people give him shit, and I saw people on Twitter saying they were going to mess this up and give it to Strickland. I don't think that's a mess up. Go back, if you watch that third round, there's an excellent argument to be made that Strickland won that round. In fact, that's what I saw. Okay, I'm not saying it was a blowout in any round other than the first. The last round I felt was dominant and clear. I thought the fourth round was clear, not dominant necessarily, but definitely clear for Duplessis. I think the second round could have gone either way. I thought the third round was Strickland's, and I thought, so it was the second and third round really. So Duplessis ends up winning by split decision. Eric Colon and Derek Clearly. Here's the thing. The third round, this is what bugs me. Because the second and fourth, you have those idiots who can always lean on, well, there was a takedown in those rounds. And he had ground control time in the fourth round. 1 minute and 18 seconds. He had a takedown. Look, he had one takedown in round 2 with 22 seconds of control time. That's what the difference maker was. It wasn't. It shouldn't have been. It's because he got outstruck. He outstruck him in this round. That's why Duplessis won this round, right? But in this third round, I don't think any of those single shots that came from Duplessis were so dominant or so powerful that they outweighed anything coming back from Strickland. Strickland outlanded him. I felt like and then I don't think that these counted. Those 10 of 12, or the 6 of 8 to the legs, I don't think those 6 landed. I'd have to go back and count each one of them. But Strickland was checking a ton of those. Those don't count. But here's the thing. If you have judges who don't understand what the hell they're looking for, and all they see is a limb being thrown at somebody else, especially when it's to the legs, and they think everything that just makes a slapping noise or everything that touches another body when it comes to the legs lands, this is what you're going to get. We've got the ineptitude and just frankly lack of understanding when it comes to not just the judging criteria, but the grappling as a whole, right? When someone gets a takedown, they're all of a sudden, there's this old school mentality, oh, well, he's controlling him. I know I've brought this up before, and it doesn't pertain so much to this fight, so I don't want to harp on it. But what it can do, or there's a couple of them that get repeated ad nauseum, especially by Joe Rogan, and it drives me nuts because this should not be the prevailing thought. It should not be brought up. It should be corrected immediately by their contemporaries. You should not be able to talk like this and then have everybody just go, uh-huh. So if you get a takedown in the first 10 seconds and you have 10 seconds of control time, if you get a takedown in the last 10 seconds and you have 10 seconds of control time, those are equal. It does not matter that one happened at the beginning of the round and one happened at the end. Okay? This is not a story, right? This is not some creative expression of dominance in the round, right? This is not some linear storytelling with the hero's journey and going through hell and coming out on top at the end. I don't give a shit. You land one big shot at the end. It doesn't matter if the guy landed a big shot on you in the beginning of the round. Okay, they're equal to each other. One is not more important because, he fought back from adversity. That doesn't matter. Okay? So that's number one. Number two is the person who gets a takedown and holds someone down. It has value, but it is just a change of position and control time. It has no other value other than that. And when people say, oh, well, he's being held there and he doesn't want to be there, I agree. He should work to get back up. But it does not outweigh someone who gets control time and punches you. Right? If you get 3 minutes of, if you guys have, one person has 3 minutes of control time and the other person has 2, right? They immediately switch positions. And for 5 minutes, one person had more control time, but the other person did damage when they were in control. They win. That's how that should work. Okay. And like I said, I don't want to harp on it too much because it didn't really dictate how the scores went here. I think it was more of a misunderstanding of how those leg kicks landed. Because here's the other thing. I'm not so hard on this that I think it was a robbery or anything like that. It was close. Those were some close rounds, and I could understand a judge seeing those for du Plessis, depending on where you're watching it from, like what angle you see it at. So this isn't bad. I just didn't score it for him. I think that Strickland did a good job. I think Strickland could have done a better job of putting his stamp on the fight, but he did not do that. So what's next? Probably Israel Adesanya, I would hope. We got Robert Whittaker taking on Paulo Costa, which would be great if Whittaker can beat Costa and then get a shot at the rematch against du Plessis for the title. That would be fun. Jared Cannonier, Brendan Allen. There's lots of fun matchups now that, Brendan Allen would have been a fun matchup for Izzy anyway. So, congrats to du Plessis. I think it's awesome. I think Strickland's story is incredible. I think du Plessis is kind of more of like a meteoric ride. It was pretty quick coming in here, and he's put on some entertaining fights. So I can't fault him for that. All right, I know that was a long one, but that was a title fight. So let's go to another title fight. Oh, boy. So this title fight, Raquel Pennington versus Mayra Buena Silva for the vacant women's bantamweight belt. Okay, so couple things. One, this was hard to watch. This kind of sucked. I don't think I have been less invested in a title fight since maybe the last featherweight fight, the female featherweight fight. It was hard to imagine that these are the two best bantamweights in the world, and they might be. They might be. But that doesn't show that's not good either. Okay, so we'll talk about this one. We'll try to go through a quick. Here's a positive side of this. People are saying I can't believe this was the co-main event. I'm glad it was a co-main because it set my expectations for the main event pretty low. It didn't get me hyped up, right? Like when you see an exciting fight, like the next one, you're like, oh, right. Like you're all jazzed up and you're ready to go and you want to watch another one of those. And if you have a wrestling battle or a more technical fight, it kind of brings the mood down. You can get like a little like boo happy. So I'm glad that this was the main event, the co-main event, and not a main event on some other mediocre card. I almost fell asleep multiple times. All right. Silva looking for those low kicks. Pennington finding the body kick and the lead hook. Decent clinch work from Silva as Pennington goes for the single leg. I can't believe this is a title fight. It's so bad. Silva gets the takedown along the fence, and she gets the back standing. She gets the standing backpack. This was Silva's round. I think she outstruck her here, 18-11. Had some control time, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Easy to call this round for her. There's no way you give it to Pennington. No reason to give it to her. At this point, I thought Silva was going to kind of walk away with it, but then, Pennington she landed this 1-2 on Silva. Silva landed the low kick. Silva pushes to the clinch, and then Silva started to get tired, even in the second round. Pennington's landing some hard right hands, staggering Silva, but then goes into the clinch for some stupid reason because her coaches tell her to do it and tell her not to do that, and she immediately does it. Silva gets a standing backpack again, but Pennington did way more damage in this round. Looking at the striking numbers, 33-20. This is an excellent example of how control time of 2 minutes and 46 to 1 minute of Pennington's, right? The control time went in favor of Silva. This is an excellent example of when control time doesn't mean anything if you don't do damage, right? So, Pennington did way more damage in this round. Obviously, it was hers, 19-19. The jab and the 1-2 are working for Pennington, and she needs to stop throwing. Or she needs to keep throwing and stay out of the clinch, but immediately she goes into the clinch. This is really hard to watch. Silva gets the whizzer kick, but right back up, attempting a ninja choke. That's no good. Buena Silva didn't want to stand back up, and Pennington using the front choke to force Silva to her back. Pennington wins this round, 27-17 for striking numbers. More control time this time for Pennington, 230-130. She was on her way to a victory. All right, Silva... Pennington lands a right hand straight away. Silva back to the clinch. Pennington turns it around and starts landing some knees to the body. Silva pulls her down and gets the back, but she goes for the rear naked choke and can't get it, and it ends up on bottom. Pennington with the ground and pound landed some good shots. 39-37 for Pennington on my card. 29-7 for the striking numbers. This is turning into a real one-sided fight. Last round, Pennington using the jab while landing a decent right hand. Back to the clinch again. Silva tried to drag her to the ground, but ends up mounted, and then Pennington going for the arm triangle from mount, but she just refused to give up her position, stayed safe, started dropping elbows. Silva just laid there and showed little to no effort for the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I wrote down, this couldn't feel more pointless of a belt unless it was at 145. It was bad to watch. I'm happy for Pennington that she finally gets but it just feels like a placeholder for someone to come in eventually with some more advanced skill sets. Let's see, the judges' scorecards. All three judges saw it the same, except for Salim Hanif, giving that last round a 10-8 for Pennington. That's fine. So she's going to fight... who's she fighting next? Juliana Pena. She's going to fight Juliana Pena next, which I'm sure will be something. All right, let's talk about a fight that was fun. Neil Magny versus Mike Malott. Boy, oh boy, that old man. Man, every time I record, I swear, and my nose starts running, and then immediately after I stop recording, my nose stops running. Maybe it's something over here. I wonder if the cat rubs up on my microphone. Could be. Anyway, this was pretty one-sided. Mike Malott going to the legs a ton. Magny has an issue with that lead leg already. I don't think he's landing anything in this first round. You look at the striking numbers here, 20-5 in favor of Malott. So yeah, not much there. 10-9 for Malott. Malott landing a nice right hand, and Magny is just chasing or backing up without landing much. Magny overextends and gets taken down easy. Malott ends the round in mount, laying out some ground and pound. Magny just needs to do damage and really put something on him because he just couldn't do anything. 21-6, so they both landed one more strike in the second round here, but he had 3 minutes of control time. Not a close round at all. Not a close fight. This was domination. Outside of 10-8 rounds, this was just straight domination from Mike Malott, and it looked like he was just going to coast to victory, and he started to, right? Magny tries to pressure hard, but gets taken down. Fights off some subs to get and gets back up in this third round, but it just looked like Malott was just gonna just keep the pressure on and like I said, coast to victory. Malott with a high single leg to get Magny back down. Magny gets out and then gets on top and starts landing some ground and pound. He started finishing strong. With 1 minute and 30 seconds left, he starts putting pressure on him. Gets on top of him. Let's see here. Yeah, 1 minute and 44 seconds. He was on top in control. Magny gets to the mount, laying out a ton of ground and pound, and you're like, holy shit, Magny can get the finish. And with 15 seconds left in the fight, 15 seconds left, he laid out enough ground and pound on Malott, and Malott couldn't move, and he gets the win. Holy shit. This is Mike Malott's first loss in his career in a fight he was dominating. Wasn't even close. Mike Malott was just trashing him. Mike Malott's working his way. Neil Magny is ranked 13. Mike Malott's going to move into the rankings and then start taking on people. They're talking. The announcers were literally talking about the other guys he's going to have to fight in this division. They're talking about, how he's going to do against Rachmanov, and how's he going to do against, like, these are the guys he's going to have to fight now because he's going to have to do this. That's all they talked about for the first 2.5 rounds. And then all of a sudden, Magny's like, no, not today. You don't get to go into the top 15. You can't make it in here. Man, he's been a gatekeeper in the best way for the past, 8 years. He's good, man. Neil Magny's excellent. I just wish that he had been given. I thought, no, you know what? He's been given plenty of opportunities to move up in his own right, to possibly challenge for a title. He's never done it, but to move himself into a position to challenge for a title, he's just come up short every time. And this is the thing: is there's no shame in being a top 15 fighter in the world for the better part of your entire 15-year career, 20-year career. Like, sometimes that's just what it is. That's just who you are. And it might be sad on the outside, or it might be sad for the person if their dreams were to be the best in the world. But when you look back on it, how many people make it to the UFC? How many people ever make it to the rankings in the UFC? How many people have extended careers in the UFC? And then how many people have extended careers where they're always ranked, or they're right outside the top 15, or they're in the top 15, top 10, top 5? Right? Always in the picture, always in, always the one who everybody knows, who everybody sees, everybody knows is going to be there, constantly being challenged, but coming up and just stopping people all the time. And yeah, you end up getting kicked back down the rankings when you meet somebody who's skilled, and sometimes people will get past you because they're better than you, but there's no shame in being ranked number 12, being ranked number 15, being ranked number 8 for frickin' 10 years. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody's going to be a champion. That's just the nature of everything. It's not even athletics. It's the nature of everything. Not everybody can be the champion. It not only takes an outlier, either genetically or skill-wise, like some sort of outlier to even make it into that thing, but it takes a lot of things to go right for you even to get into that opportunity. Like, look at Sean Strickland. Fought in the UFC forever, constantly bouncing around in the top 15, top 10. He was down a weight class, moved back up to here. He moved up to 185, felt better, finally put a string together, gets kicked back down, and then finally, it's just the right place, the right time, and becomes champion. That's all it took for him. You think if he had to fight all of the wrestlers in 185, he would have made it to the title shot while Izzy was still there and then had that exact performance? Probably not. Probably would have been kicked back down. Maybe. You know what I mean? It's just, sometimes it just isn't in the cards in your life or your career to become a champion. And for Neil Magny, that looks like what it is. But he's still fucking awesome. He's still good, man. Like, to be that good for so long, that takes some crazy amount of skill. Awesome. I was so happy. I'm so happy for him. Devastating for Mike Malott, though. All right. Let's talk about Chris Curtis versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Oh, boy. This started out to be a stinker. All right. Okay. We should go fast. Outside low kick is working well for Curtis, but pretty slow start to the fight. Barriault landing a nice right hand. Curtis will take the center, and then Barriault will push out, but neither guy putting much together. Barriault kicking to the body, Curtis digging the left hook to the body like usual. All things being equal, Curtis pressed forward more in this round. Looking at the striking numbers here, 23-18 in favor of Curtis. I thought the striking numbers were really close. I mean, they were, but even if you thought the damage was equal, he was pressing forward the entire time, so I gave the edge to Curtis. I had a 10-9. Second round, Barriault's throwing more now, but he's still backing up. Barriault won't extend, but it worked in this round. I felt like he did a better job. He did get outstruck again, 51-45, but I felt like Barriault landed some good shots in here. like maybe it was deceptive and I didn't see all the shots that landed. Maybe that I put more emphasis on the ones that landed from Barriault. I didn't see the ones that landed to the face. Apparently it was 40-28 in favor of Curtis for the headshots. I just didn't see all of them, I guess, because I had this round for Barriault. I had it 19-19 going to the third. Barriault just was not landing anything with force. He's just throwing all the things out there. Kicks, punches to the body, kicks to the head, kicks to the shoulders, just like everything. Curtis digging to the body. I just didn't think that was going to score well on the cards. I scored it well. I just don't think that the judges see that kind of stuff, and they're like, oh, that's as equal to a headshot. They're clinching up now, landing inside the guard. Barriault's landing more to the head with some elbows. They stay in the center exchange till the end. I just think Curtis landed our harder shots. And if you look at the striking numbers here, again, very close, 66-59. I know that's a 7-strike difference, but all things being considered, that's a lot of strikes for both guys to throw. And in the moment, you're not counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, you're not counting back and forth, right? Striking numbers. You're not counting like that. You're just watching the fight as it goes on. So these striking numbers can give us an indication of what happened, but it's really hard to say that that's what happened in the moment. So, split decision. And you want to talk about some scorecards here. Derek clearly had both round 2 and round 3 for Barriault. No. Or Barriault, sorry. No. And this is the guy who also scored it, the main event, for du Plessis, along with Eric Colon. But Derek clearly, I don't trust him. I don't think he knows what's going on. He's been a part of some of the worst decisions in the past couple of years. I've been saying this a lot. Saul D'Amato gets a ton of shit, but I feel like he's been doing a more consistent job lately. I feel like Derek clearly is just a complete fuck up. He gave the second and the third. The second round, I understand. I gave Barriault the second round. I understand that one. The third round, I don't know how you give that to Barriault. I don't get it. That's bad, and that's why I'm saying, like, people are going to hang their hat on that decision in the main event. You shouldn't do that. Good job for Curtis, though. All right, Arnold Allen versus Movsar Evloev. All right, this is the first fight on the main card. Oh boy, this video's getting long. All right, Evloev landing some kicks to the body. Allen landing a nice left hand. Allen using the jab, bouncing in and out of range early. Allen landing a hard left hand to the body a few times. Those are nice. Evloev going hard for that single leg and just can't get it. With Allen staying on the outside, bouncing in for his strikes and slowing down the wrestling attempts for Evloev. But I'll talk about what happens on the other side. Evloev is changing levels and gets it to the ground, but Allen Granby rolls and gets back to his feet. Evloev had some decent takedowns in here. All things being considered, I felt like Evloev did just enough in this round. If he did not get those takedowns in this round or get any change of position, I felt like the striking, even though it was in favor as far as the numbers go to Evloev, I felt like the more damaging shots came from Allen. So it was a close round for me. This was not an easy round to score, but I gave it to Evloev. I didn't feel like he did a ton of damage, but it was enough that kept him close to Allen, so I gave it to him. Second round. Allen is too far out for his strikes early in the second round. Not a whole lot landing for the first half of this round. Evloev shooting in again, gets right to the ground, but they get back up. Allen throwing elbows back, and then they go down and up. And it's just a lot of Evloev wrestling. Landing some hard right. Evloev lands a hard right hand that stumbles Allen for a second. Allen fires back at him, but Evloev took this round. This was clearly his round, 21-18 for striking numbers. He had some control time here, 59 seconds, but the big thing was that right hand that stumbled Allen. Last round, Allen worrying about the wrestling was killing his offense, and he just couldn't get enough out there. So in this round, he kind of threw caution to the wind and just went for it. Allen was planting his feet, throwing hard with that left straight and the uppercut. Allen landing a nice 1-2 and then a 3 really hard. Then Allen pulls his head up and knees him in the head, and he does it multiple times, but Goddard stops the fight. I don't know how many fucking times we have to talk about this shit. You're not allowed to reach for the ground. You're not a grounded fighter. I know DC gets a boner for these fucking guys out of this region of the world because he works with them, and I understand it. You got to defend your friends, whatever. But you can't reach for the ground. You're not supposed to ground yourself. The idea is if you are supporting your weight on the ground, like trying to push yourself back up, or you are basically bent over, but on, like not on all fours because you only have one hand down, but your weight is on the ground, right? You are a grounded opponent. You can't reach. They tell you not to reach, but fucking Goddard stops the fight and takes that damage away from him. And then they don't take a point away, and then DC goes fucking silent. DC goes silent because that's his buddy out there. I don't even know if they're friends, but like whatever. It's the way he talked about it. He's like, oh, that's illegal. That's illegal. I mean, his hand's going to come up when... Yes, because he's not fucking supporting his weight. Because he's reaching. He's trying to go ground himself. He's trying to play the fucking game. Get rid of that shit. How many fucking fights does this need to ruin? Because in that moment, if he's not going for that shit, what happens if those knees keep coming and he gets wobbled or knocked out in that position? And Allen has an opportunity to win the fight. Instead, they get stopped and reset. Anyway, it's moot as far as like how this last round goes because Allen dominated it, right? He fires that left straight to the body and it's there all day, but it wouldn't end the fight. Fights off multiple takedowns, keeps firing back. Allen ends the fight throwing everything at him, and I definitely gave him this last round. It was the easiest round to score, 29-17. Well, second round was easy to score. 29-17 in favor of Allen. I think if Allen had picked up just a little bit more in that first round and thrown some more out there, he could have taken this one. Looking at the scorecards here, all three judges saw it the same way. First two rounds for Evloev, and then last round for Allen. I can't stand it anymore. It's so fucking annoying. I can't believe in 2024 we're still doing this shit. I don't get it. Either make it a rule where if you're touching the ground at all, you're a grounded opponent. If you're not touching, that rule needs to go. I think the way they had it where if both hands were on the ground, you're a grounded opponent. I think that's fine. Even if you reach, whatever. Because your all fours are touching. If an elbow's down, you're down. If a knee is down, you're down. But you're down. Not a deep squat against the fence, though. If your ass ain't on the ground, you're not grounded. So we went through that in fucking Abu Dhabi. But the point is, this rule has trashed multiple fights, and it fucked up a title last year. So I cannot believe that it's still a problem. It needs to be taken care of. This is a big deal. This is a fight on the main card. This isn't some meaningless fucking fight. These guys are both ranked at featherweight. This is a top 10 fight at featherweight, and we're like one of the biggest things that happened in this fight were knees to the head. Were they grounded? Was it grounded or not? You can't tell me because they don't fucking know. Because the rules don't fucking matter. Ah! Anyway, thanks for staying for my rambling error at the end. I appreciate y'all. Subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of stuff. That way the next video is coming out. I appreciate you. I'll put out the prelims in the next video. Love you guys. Have an amazing week.